Welcome into Talking Fitchburg, everybody, on this Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. Hope you had a wonderful day and got outside. Take advantage of those temperatures. A little bit warmer today. Actually, when I was leaving City Hall last night, Andrew and I had some training that we went to, but when I was leaving last night, I just couldn't believe walking out to the car how warm it was at night. You really appreciate those things when you come off the cold weather. We've got a very busy show for you coming up today, which we'll talk about here. We've got your headlines coming up, plus we'll check in. If you haven't checked out the podcast from the Fitchburg Senior Center, we've got an inside track to introduce you to Eric, the podcast master, I guess you could say. We'll show you that interview. And then coming up a little bit later, we'll have an interview with the mayor. Aaron Richardson stops by, gives us an update what's happening in and around the city here a little bit later in the show. But first, we're at our special time here at 5:30. If you're watching at 5:30 right now. We've got Candidate Forum coming up right after this show, at least the 5:30 edition. So join the Fitchburg Star and Fact TV for the second Candidate Forum tonight. We'll have two candidates the two candidates for District 2, seat 3 on. That's Julia Adafrada and Stephen Heller will be up for the forum tonight, hosted again by the Fitchburg Star. And we're so excited. If you missed last night's, we'll be replaying that as well for you, so you can check that out on Fact TV and, of course, up on our YouTube channel as well. All right, and other news for the day, Waterway Cleanups. As it does start to get warm out, we start to get into our cleanup seasons and great volunteer opportunities coming up. So mark your calendars. The 2021 Waterway Cleanups will take place on Saturday, April 10th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The rain date is set for Saturday, April 17th. Cleanup locations will be posted soon at the website, fitchburgwi.gov. As I've checked, we don't have them posted yet, but we'll keep you up to date. Of course, we'll be practicing all of the county's health guidelines to encourage participants to make sure they wear masks during the event and whatever other pieces we need to do to make sure everybody stays safe as they help with the cleanups. All right, the pop-up back-to-school giveaway will be happening this Friday at all Boys and Girls Clubs location here in Dane County. If you haven't signed up for this already, we want to make sure you do so. The giveaway is you have to register for this, so space is limited to this. You can register at give.classy.org at the Boys and Girls Club website. It's put on by the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, the Black Men Coalition of Dane County, and the River Food Pantry teaming up there to get out some supplies. So check that out through the Boys and Girls website. All right, turning our attention to spring and with the warm-ups happening, I do want to make sure that if flooding is a concern or has been a concern in the past, that you are ready for it. And I've got some safety tips here that we can share with you. So avoid flooded areas. Do not swim or bathe in rivers, streams, creeks, or lakes in flooded areas. Floodwaters may contain sewage, manure, gas, pesticides, hazardous materials, large pieces of debris, such as tree limbs, boulders, metal objects, sharp objects. You don't know what's in there. You probably don't want to know what's in there, right? Glass, nails, fence posts, etc. So contact your local parks department for monitoring information about public beaches, access points for surface water. Additional information, of course, is available at the State Lab Hygiene when it comes to if you're concerned about water and whatnot. Also, too, we want to make sure you have safe water. Municipal water users turn on and run your faucets for at least 5 minutes before using water, drinking, or preparation of food. If a boil water notice is issued, follow any directions given by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, local water utilities, or local health departments. Private well owners that are concerned that the well has been affected by flood should assume that the well is contaminated. Signs that a well may be affected by floodwater include floodwaters coming in contact or running over the top of a well. You will notice changes in the taste, smell, color of your water. You have a shallow well or live near areas that have been flooded. Do not drink or bathe in the water in private wells. You should definitely get those checked out before using it. And then the cleanup, if any sewage system floods over a flood, private sewage systems are no longer reliable. Portable toilets or other facilities should be used. Any areas with sewage backflow from your septic or municipal water systems through flood drains, toilets, such as basements, must be cleaned and disinfected before using again. Again, all in the staying safe in case there is flooding in the area. All right, we'll take a quick break. Coming up next, we open up our digest. We're talking about the podcast at the Fitchburg Senior Center right here in Talking Fitchburg.
Yeah, I know. Wait, I don't know. Yeah, you just did that.
Look at that. It's so sad.
Gaining weight was easy. All I had to do was sit down and eat. Losing weight's a lot harder. I have to work at it every day. But with every step, I lower my risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And that makes every step, every choice, every day very much worth the effort.
Learn how you can help stop diabetes by losing weight, eating healthy, and staying active. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from the Fitchburg Senior Center, somebody who wears many hats, in fact, I have Eric Miller here. Eric, welcome to Talking Fitchburg. You are the future of, no, I'm just kidding. You are the future of the city of Fitchburg in some ways, but truly you are a one-of-a-kind employee that gets to wear a couple of different hats. And today we're going to talk about the Senior Center and the work you're doing down there. But welcome to the show, and how are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good. We've been working together here for the last month and a half or so, and you've been doing podcasts. And so now you get to finally see the reverse role and see me actually do some type of on-air work while we've been coaching you to do all of the work. and what you've been working on is actually pretty cool. It's a podcast, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But Eric, what are you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing down at the Fitchburg Senior Center.
Well, I've been a city employee with the Fitchburg for about 5 years now. I've been a police officer there, and recently took military leave. I'm working out at the Air National Guard 115 Fighter Wing. I'm a cop out there as well, and backfilling for a deployment team. So I'm currently doing that, but while I'm doing that, I'm also going to school for my bachelor's in social work degree. And for my internship, I decided to select the Fitchburg Senior Center. So I'm working with all the ladies and one gentleman down there with trying to better our community as far as social work, and working and doing that.
Yeah, and Eric, you, like you said, you've been employed with the city of Fitchburg for many years. How important, I think we've talked about this, but how important is it for kind of tying the social work? Why do you choose social work when you have the police officer role as well? Why are you bringing those together?
Well, having a social work degree, I think, helps when it comes to law enforcement, right? A lot of our jobs as cops is social work related things. As cops, we wear several different hats, and we're constantly trying to be the mediator, if you will, and working to come up with people's solutions. Lots of times it's lots of stuff that we do. It's not what you see in the TVs where we're out there fighting crime, breaking doors down, stuff like that. A lot of it is just trying to work with the community and see what the community needs, and then try to address those issues. Lots of times, you're dealing with your neighbor issues where, this is my side of the fence, or this is your side of the fence, or things along those lines. So it's nice to have that social work background, so then you can understand how to communicate effectively with others and problem solve, and then address the issue. And lots of times what we do is we're forwarding issues to other city departments, such as the senior center, right? So a lot of our elder folks that we're dealing with, if they have mental health issues or any other issues, right? If maybe they need help with getting a ramp or stuff like that, we'll direct them to the senior center. And that goes for, public works and parks and all kinds of stuff that we do with the city.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens for police department, and I'm glad you shared a little bit of that perspective, because that's something once I came to the city and learning more and more about what the department does on a day-to-day basis. There's a lot of things that you don't know behind the scenes that's happening in policing today. And it's very interesting, but it's a lot of changing hats. As you are working on your degree and the work that you've done in the senior center, what have been some of the benefits, I guess, from your internship thus far? What have you learned perspective wise? We've got some great social workers down there, so I'm sure they're helping you out as well. But what have your experiences been like?
It's been a great time through the senior center. It was nice that Sarah Folkers and Amy are the two social workers down there. And Sarah Folkers, her husband, was a cop with us for quite some time, so she understands what it's like to work shift work. And it's nice that if I come in late or something, they understand. Oh well, he was working nights the night before and got held over, things like that. So it's nice in that perspective, but then also learning from them, just kind of seeing how they interact. I don't have much of experience working with elder folks, which is one of the reasons why I picked the senior center. I've been a personal trainer for 11 years, doing things like that. So I've worked with a lot of different people, different, backgrounds and all that kind of stuff, and trying to learn how to, see what seniors need and see a different, lens, right? Look through a different lens is pretty crucial to kind of just be more mindful of what's going on around you, and also just seeing what other departments do in the city of Fitchburg. Why we constantly hear, well, why can't we as police get this, or why can't we get this? And then you start realizing, you go into a different sector of the city, and you realize, oh well, they also need this and they're not getting this, so why aren't they getting this? But then it comes back down to funding. So there's always you see the bigger picture of things when you start working in cross departments, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the another cross department. So that's why I started off this interview saying you wear many hats, and I this is probably the first time I've ever had to say it in such a fashion, because not only are you a police officer in the National Guard, working on your degree, helping out seniors, the community with the social work, but you're also being asked to do a podcast as well for the senior center. And that's where we've started to work with you, and we've had a blast working on this project. But tell us what you're doing with the Fitchburg Senior Center podcast.
So the podcast it was initially we were doing bi-weekly, and we just switched it to do monthly, as it was just a little bit too much for me to handle with all my hats that I'm wearing. But it's social work with Eric, social work scoop with Eric. Sorry, can't talk today apparently.
We're still working on that name, right?
Yep. So that's what we're calling it right now, and it's essentially just a topic a day, or a topic podcast, and the last one was about veteran benefits. So I just go in a little bit more detail of what the problem is, things in areas to focus on, and how you can improve that problem. So sometimes it's not even just problem based. There was a time before where we were talking about different types of housing and places you can put a loved one. So there's all kinds of different topics that we'll be discussing.
Yeah, and we're still working on getting this launched, kind of through a podcast software, if you will, where people can download this through a podcast app, and those details will be coming soon. But Eric, as far as getting information out to the community using this technology, some of you will be like, well, does the older population use podcasts? Does it, and I think this is interesting because it's great technology, and really heavily used actually by all generations.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something that's going to be pretty beneficial, I think, when it comes to that. I think there's obviously some flaws when it comes to representing our lower income communities, where they may not have access to internet or tablets or things like that. But I am working on another project, which is trying to include the Latino community. I've just got a language line service for us, so then we can have our staff using language services, and then we can be able to open up more programs in-house once when that time comes with COVID, obviously, but be able to include the Latino community with what we do as well. So that'll also be probably discussed in future podcasts as well. So.
Absolutely. And we're going to have you, I'm sure we'll have you back on our show here, Talking Fitchburg. But yeah, we want people definitely to check out your podcast. I think it's awesome going topic based too and having the time to actually explain things. You're sharing great resources during those topics, breaking it down. And it's a good perspective. You bring in a really good perspective that a lot of people don't have, which I think makes it unique and makes it work well. Eric, as we wrap up here, what do you want to tell your future fans as you work through this?
If you have any ideas, send me an email. We'd love to hear any more ideas for topics, and look forward to hearing more and telling some more topics for you guys on the podcast series.
We're going to turn you into a TV guy one of these days. We're working on it.
Who knows?
You're getting better. Every day you're getting better, my friend. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time. Look forward to working with you and getting this podcast out. And thanks for everything that you're doing day in and day out with all the hats you do wear.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You betcha. All right. We'll have Eric back on the show, and we will share that information where you can find those future podcasts here on Fact TV. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You are watching TF.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps! Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready!
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is your mayor of Fitchburg, Aaron Richardson. Aaron, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time as always. We'll get right into this because COVID-19 does continue to go on. I'd like to always get an update from you as far as how City Hall is doing overall in your eyes and what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a lot of status quo for now. People are starting to get vaccinated, which is fantastic. The first responders, the senior center, those types of groups. And we're just continuing to expand that, following Dane County guidelines, of course, continuing to offer to people who work at the city that if their only time they can do it is during work hours, that we're letting them go ahead and do that, which just paid. They don't have to take sick time because we want to encourage people to get that vaccine. If they don't want to, that's not a requirement, of course, but do want to encourage that. Otherwise, the numbers are, trending well right now in Dane County. Hope that continues. As of now, we're hoping to start opening up City Hall, the library, some of those places in April. That's our hope. Always tentative. That's what we've learned more than anything this year, is that everything is tentative.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, it's been going well. I mean, for everything considering, things still keeping moving on. We've got CIP coming up, which kind of is always it always feels like we just finished budget and now we're turning into CIP, but it is the first of the budgeting process. Get that out here. So tell us what CIP is for people who are not familiar with it, and tell us some of the steps coming up.
Yeah, CIP is the first of two main steps in our budget. It's for our big projects, the projects that we generally have to borrow for, not always, but they are hundreds of thousands of dollars types of projects. So it could be a new plow truck, it could be the new police station. It's big things. Roads is another big piece to that as well. And we're really trying to plan out what do we have next year and in the future, because we have to do good planning. We have to have some idea of when we can do some of these projects, because you have these large projects. You can't do them all in 1 year. We just don't have that capacity. So it's really that first step of, okay, what are the big things as a city that we're doing and when can those fit into the schedule.
Yeah, and we used to only look out 5 years. Now we look out 10 years, which kind of gives you a better roadmap of looking ahead on big expenditures. Since you are kind of in this role now, where you're the first mayor that's had many terms, and I forget about that. But how do you feel that system's working in relationship to the budgeting process? Do you think things have been going a little bit smoother? How do you think that's been playing out?
I think we have a great process in place. The challenge is always the turnover on the council. We have a lot of people who are pretty new to the council. We're going to have at least 2 new people after April. And there's always this educational component and just understanding how we do everything, the ramifications of one decision and how that impacts other things. It's a big, complicated process. And even when I was on council for 2 years, I thought I understood it better than anyone else on council. And then became mayor and went, oh, this is even more complicated than I realized. So it's tough. And that's, I guess, one advantage maybe to having gone through this twice already. This will be my 3rd time, is having a lot better understanding of what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. So I think we've had some great budgets, and I think we'll continue to have some great budgets.
Yep, and we'll keep you up to date as far as that process goes right here on Fact TV. And with you, Aaron, switching to redistricting, we did talk a little bit about that. I do have an update on that front. Just wanted to get that in real quick.
Yeah, with redistricting, we were hoping to start in April, but we are not going to get the information from the census in time. And so it's getting pushed back. We're thinking maybe July. Again, that's kind of tentative, and it's still an important process. We have 60 days actually to get it done once we get that information. So, I don't know that I will be appointing the ad hoc committee right away in April. I might anyway, just so that they're ready. But the key is just going to be, once we finally get information, they're going to have to meet quite a bit pretty quickly and make sure that we get some good maps, make sure they're fair maps. We're not doing any gerrymandering or anything like that. And so we've got some great candidates who have already applied, and I think we're going to have a fantastic committee.
Yeah, that's also an important note too. There will be some openings on some of the different committees and stuff. If people want to get involved in that, how do they do that, Aaron?
Yeah, there's a lot of committees. I know a number of committees are going to have some openings. To be considered, you go on our website, and when you look up the different committees that are out there, there's a form you can fill out. It's a mayoral appointment form or application form, and you fill that out, and you can put what your kind of main interest is, but you can also put, there's a spot where you can also fill in other committees you might be interested in. So if we don't have an opening on bike committee, I'll say, but you're also interested in CETA, well, then maybe actually I can get you on CETA instead. The people who are coming up for reappointment, we ask them if they're interested or not. Most of them do want to be, but there is a lot that aren't. And once in a while, I haven't really done this yet, but I don't know if this will happen, but I don't necessarily have to reappoint someone. And it kind of depends on what we have for candidates. And if someone's on, another committee, then I'd like to spread that around too. I don't want someone to be on 2 or 3 committees. I want to get as many people as we can involved in the community.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way to get involved and learn city government at its finest. So I think if you have the chance, I think it's pretty interesting. And since we get to see them all here at Fact TV, I've learned a lot, and I'm not even in the community necessarily in that front, but appreciate all the work that does happen there. Speaking of work and appreciation, just wanted to touch base with you on election. It's kind of come and gone, even though there was a lot of work behind the scenes that happened. But can you share with us your take on how the elections went back in November and still as we move forward today?
Yeah, we still have elections all the time. We had a primary in February, and April is another election. We're just really fortunate as a city to have Tracy and the clerk's office. They do a fantastic job. We were able to keep all 4 polling places open all last year, so far this year. And that's something that I don't believe any other community in Dane County can say. I think every other community, unless they only had 1 polling spot, reduced their polling places for at least one of the elections. So, I think that's something that's really great. we were able to get a lot more people interested in volunteering. So thank you to all the volunteers out there. We couldn't do this without you either. And I think we're really set up to be in good shape going forward. So I'm really excited about that and really thankful for not only clerks, but all the other volunteers at the elections. Thank you for all the work you do.
Yeah, they have done a great job of stepping up, and COVID's a scary thing, and to be able to step up and help out has been awesome to see. All right, final thing here. I saved the sports for last, as most newscasts do. Pickleball courts in the city of Fitchburg. We had some chats about these. Tell us where that stands.
I'm super excited about this. It is something that I've been trying to do now for over a year. And it's to put 8 pickleball courts out at McGaw Park. And right now it's what's called referred out. So both Parks Commission and Board of Public Works will be talking about this in the next week and a half. And then in 2 weeks, on March 9th, I believe is the next council meeting, we'll be voting on it. And there's a few different parts to it. The core of it is building 8 pickleball courts out at McGaw Park and that new area that was added to McGaw Park. And then there is a little bit extra to put in, a few more paths and some more extra parking. I don't know if that piece has the support or not, but I hope that the pickleball courts do. And if you're out there and you're interested in pickleball courts and getting some built in Fitchburg, contact myself and the council and let us know, because I think it's a huge thing. It's growing very rapidly. I've played a little bit myself, and it's a really fun game. These people that play, they're crazy. I know they've been shoveling out courts and they're playing in 20, 30 degree weather outside. I'm not doing that, but they are, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I had a chance to play for many years. We had a group after work and with some of the people coming out at the from the senior center, and they are diehard, and I ended up getting half of us got injured because it's so intense, but it is so much fun if you haven't tried it out. So yeah, if you do want to get those comments in, like you said, contact Aaron or council. Aaron, well, I appreciate the time as always. Look forward to catching back up with you next month, and stay safe out there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and have a great weekend or week or whenever you're listening to this.
You betcha. All right. That is your mayor of Fitchburg, Aaron Richardson. His contact information on the website if you did want to contact him with any questions or concerns. Take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
Find good stuff at Goodwill and bring good home.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
I expect it to be a lot easier.
I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. I didn't know what step to take next.
I was transitioning from the military.
I was a vehicle gunner.
An avionics specialist.
I was an MP, military police.
My friends thought I could do anything.
I missed my unit, my family.
Playing with my daughter, I felt like a stranger.
I was overwhelmed.
I couldn't sleep.
I just wanted to be by myself.
I didn't have a clear sense of what to do next.
I was too proud. And then I thought, if I'm going through this, other veterans have gone through it too,
right?
I started to open up.
And it made a huge difference.
So I reached out, and I saw that I wasn't alone.
Because before I was able to take on my next mission, I had to take on just taking care of myself.
To find purpose.
We are not alone. Other veterans have transitioned from the military and overcome mental health challenges. Visit maketheconnection.net.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for the day, I want to thank Eric helping us out with the podcast. We're glad to team up with the Fitchburg Senior Center and share that information with you. Plus, Aaron Richardson. We appreciate his time as well on the Mayor Update. We'll have him back next month. As we wrap up, we want you to stay connected with Fact TV. And this is how you can do it. We've got plenty of platforms out there for you to check us out. So check us out. Have a great day, everybody.